Well, Mary, as you can tell, it's not 80 degrees outside here in Provo, but it is in sunny Hilo, Hawaii, where the Lady Cougars are prepping to take on Arizona State in their second straight NCAA tournament appearance. BYU has a rich bowl history dating back to its first appearance in the Fiesta Bowl in 1974, but the invite came as no surprise to head coach Bronco Mendenhall, who's taken his team bowling every year since he got the job in 2005. Near kickoff in the upper part of the rock section, students left searching for seats could barely find a place to stand. The NCAA thought differently. They ruled that the race counted against Ward's eligibility because it had a start, a finish, and it was timed. When the Cougars leave town, there's another team getting things ready for game time. The BYU travel office schedules buses and planes, books hotel rooms, and even coordinates meals for players during the trip. They say feeding 3 busloads of football players can have its challenges.
One thing we stress with the hotel and the catering staff is always to have enough food.
Not only is the team covering a lot of ground this season, but so is their gear. Players loaded up yesterday for tonight's game, but the equipment was ready to go the day before.
And they'll pack their own personal gear, meaning, their shoulder pads, their helmets and things that they use for practice, cleats, gloves, the things that a player needs.
This trailer hauls everything the team needs, including pads, a communication system, and even an x-ray machine. The trailer beats them to their destination, so the gear is ready and waiting.
We get there and then meet the drivers the next morning, and we'll offload everything at the hotel and get everything set up there that we need.
The equipment staff sets up video equipment, treatment, and training rooms at the hotel. With so much to do, Mark says they can hit bumps along the way, but come kickoff, all eyes turn to the field.
Oftentimes, if there are challenges, nobody really recognizes or sees the impact because we run ahead of it.
In Provo, Alan Miller, CougTube. The winning school has hauled the wheel home since 1948. Each plaque tells the score of a different game, and one even shows a name change in 1957 when the former Utah State Agricultural College became Utah State University. Chad Bunn is the Wheel's watchdog at BYU and remembers witnessing the tradition as a boy in Logan.
And I asked my dad, I said, what's that wagon wheel down there? And he said, well, it's an authentic Prairie School wagon wheel.
Early on, the Wheel called Logan home more often than not, but recently it's made itself comfortable in Provo, rolling back into town this week for the 3rd consecutive year. The question, though, is where exactly does it stay?
I don't know, maybe in the Athlete Hall of Fame. I mean, I would probably guess maybe the football stadium, but I don't know.
Say at the top of the Swicket.
The old wagon wheel has made its home in a variety of places, including the Marriott Center, Lavelle Edwards Stadium, and most recently a room here in the Student Athlete Building where it waits to go to the trophy shop. Bunn has continued to care for the wheel over the years and even saved it from a hostage situation once.
And we couldn't find it, and then we found out that some students from Utah State had came down and decided that even though the output of the game, the outcome of the game was not what they liked, and we deserved to have the wheel.
In Provo, Alan Miller, CougTube. Jennifer Hampson doesn't just dominate the court, but at 6 foot 7 inches tall, she towers over both teammates and opponents. Hampson never played competitive sports before 9th grade, but after a growth spurt, she says she decided it was time for a change.
I was doing gymnastics before with my best friend, and I just got way too tall. So my mom encouraged me to try different sports.
Hampson played volleyball and basketball all of high school and came to BYU as a multi-sport athlete. But with the seasons overlapping by more than a month, BYU women's basketball coach Jeff Judkins suggested that Hampson focus on one sport at a time.
I started thinking about it last year when she missed 9 games, and we missed her those games.
This time last year, Hampson was already deep into volleyball season, but this year, she's 100% focused on basketball. Hampson has already made an impact with her presence, and according to Judkins, the need was greater than expected.
I'm glad she chose basketball this year because we've lost some inside players because of injuries, so we really need her.
Judkins added the move is helping Hampson learn fundamentals and mesh with her teammates. Hampson says the choice has helped her in a lot of ways.
Better team chemistry, just a lot of things are better for me right now in basketball.
In Provo, Alan Miller, CougTube.
Welcome back. We now go back to Las Vegas where CougTube reporter Alan Miller is peeking behind the curtain of the WCC broadcast. Alan, it looks like you're in Apollo 13 or something. What is all that stuff behind you?
Yeah, I'm actually in the garage of the Orleans Arena, where behind me is the production truck Big Blue, where the BYU TV sports crew is working long and hard to televise this year's WCC tournament. The 50-man crew arrived days before the tournament began, setting up the truck and 14 different cameras that give a huge selection of angles to choose from. Michael Miner arranged the whole thing and says the hardest part is getting it all wired.
It's miles of cable, so it literally takes an army to set up something like this and make it work. But we do it at a very network quality level, and that's one of the reasons that the WCC likes us coming in and doing this, because we are going to provide them with a network quality product at the end of the day.
The crew is producing 12 games in the WCC tournament, 9 of which will not even feature a BYU team. Spencer Litton is calling the games and says preparing for so many teams in such a short period of time is grueling.
I played the matching game last night with names of players. I created this game just to help me memorize names, and a lot of reading of notes to the point where you read until literally you can't keep your eyes open and you go to sleep.
It takes a village to produce so many games, and the villagers live in even tighter quarters when they take their show on the road. With engineers, directors, and other crew members all packed into one truck, Miner says things can get a little crazy.
Most people would be overwhelmed with it. We call it organized chaos, but I like it.
Miner told me the agreement is a win-win for both the WCC and BYU TV because it gets the games into more homes of BYU fans and it's BYU branded. In the Orleans Arena, Alan Miller, CougTube.
All right, Alan, thanks so much.